Should Frank Gore be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I believe he is. I understand going back to the argument that was given yesterday was that he's never been a first team All Pro and those kind of things. But I think when you look at Frank Gore, 16,000 yards, the numbers that he put up with the 49ers throughout the middle portion of that, I think he's the third guy all time. I don't know how he doesn't get in. Now, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Maybe not, but I think he's going to get in. In the first couple of years that he can. I don't know if it's year one, but by year 2 or 3, most likely.
It's just like an amazing quirk that Roger Craig was never. Excuse me, that Roger Craig that Frank Gore was never an All Pro. How did that happen? Well, I guess he never really. I never considered him a top 2 running back in the NFL, although I considered him a top 5 running back in the NFL for a very long time. And I don't know. I guess the problem with this discussion is like there's no definition of what a Hall of Famer is. I think the closest they'd come is to say, like, can you tell the story of football without mentioning this person? And I guess you could with Frank Gore because he never won a Super Bowl and he played out here on a team that wasn't that great for a long time. But I don't know. I feel like that's a really stupid definition. And the NFL is way too restrictive on who gets in. Like the whole 5 players a year? Like, why? That's so arbitrary. I mean, in baseball, you could theoretically put 30 players in a year. It's just whoever gets more than X percent of the vote.
Right.
If 20 people get more than 75% of the vote, why would you not put them in? Why do you want less people in your Hall of Fame? Why are you honoring less players? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, should Frank Gore be in the Hall of Fame? To me, yeah. But what makes the discussion hard is like you compare him to other people. Like there's all these like hypocritical things. Like how could you not have him in but have John Riggins in the NFL in the Hall of Fame? Like how could you not have Frank Gore in but have because John Riggins wasn't an All-Pro. He was just on some famous teams. And he was great in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he had the one big run in the Super Bowl against the Dolphins in a strike year that's
it. Yeah. So he's in the Hall of Fame because you can't tell the story of the NFL without that run in that game. But Frank Gore, like, okay, so he's a victim of the teams he was on, like, or like the running backs of his era, like not being as good as LaDainian Tomlinson, or I don't know.
I think that's the argument against him. I mean, or against him is just the fact that he was never. I think he only led the league. I think there might have only been one time when he actually led the league in rushing. If he even did that,
Gore, I don't think he ever led the league in anything. I don't think he led. Maybe he did in '96. I mean, 06 and '96.
In 06, I don't know. I don't know who was above him. I mean, he was the second team All Pro that year.
I think LaDainian Tomlinson had like 1,800 yards. LaDainian Tomlinson was so freaking good when I was in college. Damn. Yes. Sorry.
So, but no, his consistency, and I think it was pointed to me yesterday, when you go back and you look at his yards from scrimmage, though, from 06 to 17, he's over 1,200 yards every year in total yards from scrimmage. That's including his rushing and his receiving yards. So I think there's enough there to put him in, and he should make it.
I don't mean to speak for Vish on this one. I think his point, and it wasn't just Vish, Eric Crocker agreed with him too. I think Jesse Naylor. I think what their point is that, like, from their vision of it, like a Hall of Famer should be a player who was like a tier 1 guy for at least 5 years or more, 5 or 7 years. I think that's what they're saying. And in their opinion, Frank Gore never was a tier 1 running back. Okay. I guess I would have a different definition. But I think you could probably find a lot of tier 2 players who are in the NFL or in the Hall of Fame because of a lot of reasons.
I mean, you mentioned one. John Riggins is definitely not a tier 1. Was never a tier 1 running back. He was always kind of a tier 2 guy. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's important to look at like positions independent of other ones. So like at running back, I think longevity matters a lot. It's running back. Like most of those guys last 3 years and they're done. Look at Saquon Barkley. Look at Christian McCaffrey. The fact that Frank Gore lasted that long and was a tier 2 guy that long is really impressive. He was a tier 2 guy for 10 years at least. Who else can say that? A lot of guys were like Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame, right?
Uh-huh.
He was a tier 1 guy for 3 or 4 years. He was the best player in the league. That's it though.
Yeah.
And then he was done. He got hurt and it was over. Bo Jackson was arguably the best running back in the league for a couple of years. Then he got hurt. It was over. So what's more important? The ability to play football and for a long time, or the ability to be the best for a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's the fact that Gore was able to play for a long time. Plus, he was able to play at a high level for a long
He
time.
was
He might not have always been the best, but he was always, until the last couple of years of his career, he was a very good running back. I mean, shoot, even when he was in Indianapolis after he left Fernandez, he almost got over 1,000 yards all 3 years there. He did it once, and the 2 years he didn't, he was right there. So he
yeah.
very impressive.
And the thing about it, it's an interesting debate, but at the same time, there's no question Frank Gore is going to be a Hall of Famer. He's the third leading rusher of all time. And every other guy from 16 up is in the Hall of Fame except for Adrian Peterson, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So it's pretty clear how the voters vote on the running backs. It's like rushing yards, you're in. And the only exceptions they make are as if you're John Riggins or something, or like Super Bowl winners, right? O.J. Simpson, John Riggins. O.J. Simpson was up there. But also Terrell Davis, guys, Gale Sayers, guys who were great and had their careers cut short.
Yeah, Gale Sayers was amazing.
Yes,
back in his day. Never saw him play, but just what I've heard of him.
Right. So Frank Gore will make it in. I don't know if he'll be first ballot. You think he'll be first ballot?
No, I don't think he'll make it in the first, but I think he'll make it in after maybe a year 2 or 3.